GeronimoJak is back, and welcome to our next PCL Advanced Hero Spotlight, featuring Kallari.
It'll be quick, like falling asleep.
Kallari is an offlaner who stalks her prey from the shadows using deadly blades and guerrilla tactics to carve her way to victory. Crippling Dagger is the bread of Kallari's kit. Whipping a dagger at lightning speed, it deals a huge chunk of damage and applies a massive slow on hit. This ability is best used early game to last hit safely in lane, as it has a very low mana cost, long range, and extremely short cooldown. Avoid leveling this up too much in the early game in order to keep the mana cost low so you can continuously last hit in lane without having to worry about the increased mana cost of the ability. Shadow Walk allows Kallari to go invisible by entering the Shadow Plane. While using Shadow Walk, Kallari receives 2 bonuses. She gets a move speed bonus for as long as she's using Shadow Walk that increases per level, the other being that her next auto attack will deal 250% basic damage. That auto attack will not crit. I know, I'm sorry to wipe that smirk off your face. Additionally, when Kallari's health drops below 35%, she will instantly enter the Shadow Plane. While in the Shadow Plane, Kallari is never truly invisible. Any Shadow Ward item or other player in the Shadow Plane will be able to see Kallari as a blue silhouette, as long as the player or ward has a line of sight on her. If Crippling Dagger is the bread, then Shadow Walk is the butter. Once Shadow Walk is at a high enough level, the time you get to be stealth is actually longer than the cooldown of the ability itself. Try to combine the 2 abilities as frequently as you can to maximize the efficiency of your kit, and toast your enemies. When channeling Shadow Walk, use Crippling Dagger as you're entering stealth. You can then auto attack for your bonus damage and use Crippling Dagger and Shadow Walk once again to get that extra juicy burst. Shadow Dance is a passive ability that also has 2 components. The first being that Shadow Dance gives Kallari a triple jump. Keep in mind that if you jump more than once, it does go on a short cooldown once you land, so you're gonna have to show some restraint on that happy jumping. The second part of Shadow Dance is that Kallari receives bonus health regen while she's in the Shadow Plane. Increasing the rank of Shadow Dance lowers the cooldown for the jump and improves the bonus health regen Kallari gets. Much like other heroes with vertical abilities, Kallari can traverse many of the walls and platforms of Monolith, plus a few extras thanks to the increased height on her triple jump. Kallari's ultimate is Death Sentence. Kallari applies a mark to all enemy heroes that grants vision for 5 seconds. Targeting a hero and using the ability again will teleport Kallari to the target, applying a slow and dealing good damage. Death Sentence is a global ability, which means it has infinite range and works regardless of where the enemy's location is. Use Death Sentence to pick up stragglers or instantly gank those low health carries across the map. Remember that while her ultimate is extremely useful at picking up those low health targets, it can also be used for more than just alienating your teammates by helping them secure that kill. We all know what you're really up to. You can also use it to apply a slow, initiate ganks for your team, and instantly rotate across the map. You can even use it to simply gain vision on the enemy team. Kallari was released as Paragon's first true assassin, and needs to be played as such. Her kit is incredibly versatile and requires a lot of creative thinking in order to really maximize her potential, having a playstyle that relies more on windows of opportunity than most other heroes in Paragon. Kallari doesn't have set rules and will usually have more than one solution to the situation. With that being said, there are a few go-to strategies. She can be very disruptive to the enemy team and excels the most when she's simply causing as much frustration as possible. It's also important to note right here that Kallari should heavily avoid being placed in the jungle, as her low base health, lack of hard crowd control, and poor clear speed will be more harmful than helpful. When playing Kallari, try to focus the enemy backline, use guerrilla tactics, and flank the enemy to properly engage into a team fight. Ideally, the best time for Kallari to join the fight is when the fight has already broken out and the enemy team is distracted. This allows Kallari to get in and wreak havoc without becoming the instant focus for the enemy team. With Kallari, you're going to want to spend a lot of your time split pushing in the off lane and forcing the enemy team to have to rotate over to you. This relieves pressure off the rest of your team and allows them to take more objectives and do more on the map for themselves. Once you have set your wave and forced the enemy team to answer your split, you can then use your ultimate to turn the tide of a teamfight on the other side of the map and give your team the man advantage. Pick Kallari when you see team compositions that are very squishy, or rely heavily on synergy to complete their composition, such as Decker Howie or a Phase Sparrow combo. Taking one of them out of the fight, even if you don't kill them, will disrupt their strategy and force them to use abilities where they normally wouldn't. When playing against Kallari, your best defense is vision. Try to keep an extra ward on hand. This will render her Shadow Walk completely useless and allow you to keep track of her while she's positioning herself to do damage or attempting to escape. Because Kallari is one of the squishiest heroes in Paragon, it is very important to not dive head-on into the enemy team. Anyone with vision like Wraith or strong CC like Rampage will hard counter Kallari, and the second she gets stuck in place, it's lights out for the Blade of Agora. Use Shadow Walk to body block the enemy from last hitting. If the enemy carry is skilled, they will often attempt to freeze the minion wave to prevent it from pushing towards you, starving an offlaner from having any experience. This is an offlaner's worst nightmare. Kallari has an easy solution to this problem. Enter the Shadow Plane with Shadow Walk and stand in front of the minion that the enemy is shooting. Taking damage from their basic attack will cause your minions to attack the enemy player instead of the enemy minions. This causes your minions to die faster, breaking the freeze and making the enemy minions push towards your tower, allowing you to farm closer to your side of the map, meaning it's harder to be ganked by the enemy jungler or for the enemy duo lane to outright kill you. Kallari is really good at sniping the gold buff safely from the enemy carry. Stand on the mound leaning against the wall in the river by the gold buff wall. If you time it right, you can jump and toss your dagger right into the buff, stealing it from the enemy carry. Another good way of doing this is walking up to ledge that drops off into the gold buff from lane. Jump up to get a height advantage over the carry while throwing the dagger. Then use Shadow Dance to double jump back into lane and walk away, leaving the ADC with nothing but empty hands and tears. Kallari is literally a walking ward. If you and your team have some free time, you can use Kallari's stealth to reveal enemy shadow wards and have your team clear them out for you, saving you some time and some resources. If your team isn't around, you can also do this by yourself by standing next to the ward and throwing your dagger. The dagger will actually move faster than it takes for Kallari to exit stealth and deal damage to the ward, revealing it and allowing her to clear it. Looking for a little bit of safety while you back? If you use Shadow Walk and then back as you're channeling your stealth, you can actually do it while channeling Shadow Walk. This is really good for backing behind enemy lines after the enemy has been particularly stubborn about giving you a nice warm hug of death. With Kallari being an assassin, there's really only one thing you need to build: power. So much power. And attack speed, but that's so you can use the power more. Kallari has a very slow clear speed, so she needs that extra attack speed to help her make up for it. Crit is viable on her, but you'll be doing less damage to towers because you can't crit towers. And as the offlaner, one of your main jobs is to split push and take those down. While not necessary, having a little bit of mana regen in your build is also a nice touch, just to keep your mana pool up so you don't get caught with your pants down in those dire situations. At level 1, you want to take either your stealth or your dagger first. This is very dependent on whether or not the enemy duo lane has frozen the lane. Generally, your stealth will provide you with more options to move around, while your dagger will let you last hit from a safe distance. At level 2, take the other ability, and level 3, your Shadow Dance. You will want to max Crippling Dagger first. It does a decent amount of damage, and the slow it causes increases per level as well. While you're maximizing Crippling Dagger, put a point into your stealth ability, Shadow Walk, to help you basically be perma-stealth. After that has been maximized, you want to focus leveling up your triple jump, Shadow Dance. This will greatly increase the health regen you receive while in stealth and reduce the cooldown of your triple jump. Backflips for days. That's going to be everything for today. Hopefully now you'll be able to get that extra edge on the competition and grab that win you're looking for. If you're looking for specific builds, guides, gameplay, or the latest VODs from the PCL, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and keep an eye out for the next video coming soon. Until next time, I'm GeronimoJak, signing out for the PCL, and I'll see you in Agora.